Emma Carson pressed her palm against the cool glass doors of Bennett Consulting Group, her pulse quickening as she held her son's hand and gripped her battered clipboard. The morning air bit at her cheeks as she whispered, "We need to remember what we discussed," Tyler, kneeling to lock eyes with him. "You have to be incredibly quiet. Sit in the break room with your books and tablet. Don't disturb anyone. Can you manage that for me?" Tyler nodded solemnly, his young face solemn beyond his years. "I'll be good, Mom, I promise." Emma's throat constricted. At 28, she'd spent 3 years navigating single motherhood after her husband simply vanished, leaving behind a toddler and overwhelming debt. She clawed her way from receptionist to junior accounts manager through sheer willpower, yet life remained a relentless balancing act: childcare schedules, work demands, and the gnawing terror that one mistake would shatter everything. Today, that fear materialized. Her babysitter's 5:30 a.m. text about a family emergency left Emma scrambling through every backup option. Nothing. Missing work wasn't an option. She was already on precarious ground with her supervisor after last month's sick day for Tyler's flu. Standing there, violating company rules by bringing her son, she clung to hope that no one would notice or care. Reaching the break room safely, Emma arranged Tyler by the corner with his backpack of books, tablet loaded with educational games and a pre-packed snack. "I'll check on you hourly," she promised. "If you need anything, text me." "Tyler, I know, Mom. Stay quiet. Don't bother anyone." He smiled faintly. "It's okay. I've got this." She kissed his forehead, tears welling, and moved to her desk. 3 hours passed smoothly. Emma tackled her morning tasks, checking her phone for any word from Tyler. Nothing. He was perfect, exactly as promised. At 10:00, her supervisor Linda appeared, face tight with anger. Emma's stomach plummeted. "Emma, I need to see you in my office now." Emma followed, mind racing through excuses, explanations, anything to save her position. Linda's arms were crossed. "Is there a child in our break room?" "Linda, I can explain. Do you realize how inappropriate this is? This is a professional environment, not a daycare. I know, and I'm deeply sorry. My babysitter had an emergency with no other options." Tyler's being completely quiet, not bothering anyone. "I promise this won't recur." "You're right. It won't happen again," Linda interrupted sharply, "because you're fired, effective immediately. This is the final issue, Emma. You've been unreliable for months, inconsistent attendance, leaving early, now bringing your child to work. We require dependable staff. Please," Emma choked out, her voice breaking. "I need this job. Tyler and I will lose our apartment. Please, I'll work overtime, take a pay cut. Just don't fire me. The decision stands. HR will process your termination. You have 1 hour to gather your belongings and leave." Linda's expression remained unchanged, offering no comfort. Emma returned to her desk that afternoon, head bowed, as colleagues whispered and averted their gaze, aware of her public humiliation. Packing personal items into a box, she heard commotion near the elevators. The CEO was present, an unusual occurrence. Michael Bennett, the company's founder, was renowned for his brilliance yet emotional distance, preferring spreadsheets to people. Emma ignored the excited murmurs. She only cared about feeding her son next week. Approaching the break room for Tyler, she heard her name. Michael stood there, younger than she'd imagined, with dark hair and concerned eyes. "Yes, Mr. Bennett, I heard you were terminated. Is that accurate?" Humiliation flushed her face. Of course, he'd heard. The CEO likely reviewed all dismissals. "Yes, sir, I was just collecting my son to leave." "What occurred?" "I brought my child to work. My babysitter faced an emergency with no alternatives. I know it violated policy, but where is Tyler now?" "In the break room. He's been quiet all morning." "Show me." Confused, Emma guided Michael to the break room. Tyler sat cross-legged on the floor in his blue hoodie, absorbed in a space book. He looked small, fragile, and Emma felt tears threaten. Michael entered, joining Tyler on the floor. "What are you reading?" he asked. "It's about black holes. They trap light and everything," Tyler replied. "I know," Michael said gently. "I used to read space books as a child." Tyler's face brightened. "Really? What's your favorite planet?" "Saturn. I like the rings." Michael smiled, and Emma noticed a shift in his demeanor, something vulnerable, human. "Can I share something, Tyler? When I was 7, like you, my mother sometimes brought me to her office." My breath caught. "She was a single mom," Michael continued, his voice soft. "She worked as a secretary at a law firm. When she couldn't afford a babysitter, she'd bring me to work. I'd sit in the break room with books and homework trying to be invisible. Tyler's eyes widened. What happened? One day her boss discovered it. He fired her immediately, calling it unprofessional, claiming children didn't belong at work. Michael's jaw tightened. I never forgot that feeling. Watching my mother cry because of me, knowing someone decided we weren't worthy of a chance. He looked at Emma, seeing tears in his eyes. I built this company because I remembered being that child. Because I promised myself that if I ever gained influence, I'd ensure no one had to choose between their job and family. He stood. Emma, you're not fired. In fact, I'm promoting you to senior accounts manager, effective immediately with a 20% raise. Emma stared, unable to comprehend. I what? Furthermore, Michael continued, his voice growing stronger. I'm announcing a new company policy today. Bennett Consulting Group will implement on-site childcare for employees. Until that's operational, anyone facing a childcare emergency may bring their child to work. We'll establish a supervised space. He surveyed the break room at the few employees who'd gathered, curious about the CEO playing with a child. This company thrives because good people deserve opportunities. Emma Carson is an exceptional employee facing impossible circumstances. Instead of punishing her humanity, we're supporting her and any employee in similar situations. Linda entered pale. I was following company policy. Then the policy was wrong, Michael stated firmly. It's changed as of now. Linda, I need to discuss how this was handled in my office. He turned to Tyler. Tyler, your mom mentioned you enjoy space. Would you like to see my office? I have a telescope there. Tyler looked at Emma, who nodded, still stunned. Can I, Mom? Go ahead, honey. Michael led Tyler toward the elevators, pausing to look back at Emma. My office. 1 hour. We'll discuss your new role and duties. And Emma, thank you for reminding me why I founded this company. For showing me I'm still that child who sat in break rooms hopping not to be seen. For giving me the opportunity to be better than the person who fired my mother. 1 year later, Emma stood in Bennett Consulting Group's new childcare center. A vibrant space on the second floor filled with toys, books, art supplies, and 3 full-time caregivers. Tyler played with other employees' children at home. The program succeeded immediately. Employee retention soared. Productivity climbed, and Bennett Consulting was featured in business magazines as a model of progressive workplace policies. Yet for Emma, the transformation ran deeper than policy. She'd been promoted twice more and led her own team. She moved to a better apartment. Tyler flourished in school. Most unexpectedly, she formed an unexpected bond with Michael Bennett. He visited her office that afternoon carrying 2 coffees. Got a moment for the man who saved my career. Always. Michael sat looking nervous. I want to ask you something. Feel free to decline. This won't impact your job, okay? Would you like dinner with me? Not a business meeting, a real date. Emma's heart skipped. Michael, I'm you sure I have complications, a child, chaotic schedule, poor choices in partners. Emma interrupted gently. I grew up watching my mother struggle alone. I understand single parenthood. I know your strength, your sacrifices. That's not a complication. That's courage. He paused. I've wanted to ask you out for months, but I didn't want awkwardness or power imbalances. You work for me and I never wanted pressure, yet I can't stop thinking about you, about your bravery that day, your love for Tyler, your dedication. You remind me of my mother in the best way. Emma felt tears emerging. Yes, I'd love dinner, really. But Emma, you must know Tyler comes first always. If that doesn't work, Tyler comes first. Michael agreed. I wouldn't have it any other way. 3 years after that fateful morning when Emma clutched her son's hand outside the building, afraid of losing everything, she stood in the same spot wearing a white dress, holding a bouquet. The small wedding ceremony unfolded in Bennett Consulting's rooftop garden. Tyler served as best man, beaming in his little suit. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Tyler piped up, I don't object. I want Michael to be my dad. Guests laughed as Michael's eyes filled with tears. During their first dance, Tyler wriggled between them, demanding group hug, which they obliged, embracing as the sun set over the city. Later, Emma found Michael alone by the railing. What are you thinking about? She asked, linking fingers with him. I'm thinking about my mother, wishing she could witness this, knowing she'd be proud. She died when I was in college. She worked herself to exhaustion trying to give me chances. I've spent my life trying to honor her sacrifice. You have, Emma whispered. You've created a place where people like her, like me, don't have to choose between survival and family. You've given Tyler and me a life I never imagined possible. You gave me something too. Michael said, you reminded me why all of this matters. The company, the policies, the success. It's meaningless if it doesn't help real people. You and Tyler showed me that. He pulled her close. That day I saw you being fired for bringing your son to work, I saw my mother. I saw myself. I saw every person ever judged for struggling, for being human, for trying their best in impossible circumstances. I knew I had the power to make it right. You gave me that chance. Emma kissed him gently. We saved each other that day. Yeah, Michael agreed, glancing at Tyler teaching other kids a game. We did. The child care center began because of one desperate mother and one CEO who remembered being that desperate child. It now served over 50 families. Bennett Consulting's progressive policies inspired other companies to follow suit. Every new parent entering those doors with worry found a community that understood. Because Michael Bennett had been that child. He remembered feeling small and quiet in a break room, hopping not to be noticed, carrying his mother's fear of losing everything. He decided no child should feel that way. No parent should choose between job and family, and compassion wasn't business weakness. It was true success's foundation. Emma had walked through those doors expecting to lose everything. Instead, she discovered everything she'd never dared hope for. A career valuing her, a partner understanding her struggles, and a place where motherhood wasn't a liability but a strength. Sometimes our worst moments become foundations for our best. Sometimes being fired leads to being discovered. Sometimes the person who saves you is someone who sees themselves in your struggle and chooses to be the help you once needed. Michael had been that child in the break room trying to be invisible. Now he was the man ensuring no child would ever be invisible again. And that made all the difference.